Hello, everyone. I'm waiting for it to actually go live. I'm probably live right now, but I'm going to give it a few minutes so that I can see that you're here, so that I can see that you're present. And I'm really excited for tonight. This is part 2 of my masterclass series. The entire masterclass is called Candid Clarity. And the intention for the 3-part series is for you to actually receive clarity on where you're going, what your future is, what it is that you desire. And we are on part 2, which is unblocking your confidence. So if it's your first time here and you just are coming across this video or you're just coming across this replay, I invite you to click the link to go also watch part 1, which is setting a foundation for operating in uncertain times. So just letting you know, in the background, I do have a dog that's playing with a toy right now, and she's also playing with the cat. So you might hear some of that noise in the background. But without further ado, let me introduce myself. My name is CANDID, and I'm a mindset coach for people who are really judgmental and critical of themselves. So that usually identifies as somebody who is a recovering perfectionist, or maybe still is a perfectionist, or someone who overgives to others and doesn't really give to themselves. They don't really feel like they deserve it. They end up doing all the things for everyone else and not spending time or money on themselves. And they try to make everybody happy. So maybe identifying as a people pleaser. So if that is you, if any of that describes you at all, make sure you comment and let me know. I love to know if this connects with you, if this resonates with you. And throughout this 1 hour about that we're going to be spending with each other, I'm going to break down what is blocking your confidence and how you can actually take action today from a place of confidence in order to build more confidence. Okay, so you're gonna be learning some things. You're gonna be receiving this in energetic frequency that you've never received it before, that you've never heard it before. And I know that this is going to free you from a lot of the self-judgment that you've already experienced. Because that confidence, right, the kind of the opposite of confidence is spending that time in self-judgment and spending that time being critical of ourselves. And then we don't feel confident because we don't feel good enough. And I'm going to give you several tools that I use in my programs and with my one-on-one clients that you can apply right now today. So I'm really excited to deliver this because I know a lot of people, including myself, struggle with confidence or are challenged around confidence. And I'm going to illustrate it to you in an energetic way that I believe you will understand at a soul level, and it will assist you as you're moving through to higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of confidence. Okay, so both of those are going to happen today. But first, I wanted to share a few stories with you of some clients I've helped in the past, just so you can get a foundation, because a lot of times what happens when we learn something new, when we hear something new, our critical brain, our ego self, wants to negotiate with it, wants to kind of battle and confront new ideas, right? Like, that's not really true, or could this really work? Could it be that easy? Could it be that simple? Because a lot of what our ego spends time doing is telling us how bad we are, telling us how we're not doing a good job, telling us how hard it's going to be, and reaffirming how hard life is, how hard it is to be a good person, whatever that looks like for you, how hard it is to get what we desire. And then your ego looks for evidence of that. So because this is probably going to dispel and give you another side of confidence and desires and actually achieving what you want, fulfillment, not just achieving things to validate yourself or to make yourself feel good or worthy enough, which I did for many years. This is going to, by hearing the stories of other clients, you can identify with some of their stories, maybe their personalities, maybe some things that they've gone through in their lives. So this gives you evidence that this stuff works. So I've been coaching in the coaching space for about 7 years, and I started in really supporting women around confidence, especially around their body. And so a few years ago, I was coaching a physician who was at a high level in one of the critical care units at the hospital. And she worked long, long days, 12-hour days, had a high stress job. And her vision was to create body confidence and confidence around her health, not only to motivate and inspire and be an example for her patients, but because she wanted the total package that came with that physical confidence of how you look, how you feel, knowing that you're taking good care of your health. And ultimately, we worked together for about 6 months, and she ended up looking amazing, fit, phenomenal, and her health was thriving. But that's only one piece of it. Her mindset was also thriving. She practiced self forgiveness, self trust, really embodying and loving herself. Her relationship with her spouse got closer, their communication got better. She even got a promotion during the time we were working together because her confidence and her energy was uplifted through the process. And then finally, to culminate our work together, she booked a photo shoot on her 40th birthday, and she looked sexy as hell at her photo shoot. And she has embraced being fit at 40 and beyond, mind, body, and spirit. So that's just one example of a doctor, somebody who's smart, intelligent, but still, we all have those emotions, thoughts, beliefs that tend to hold us back from living out the best version of ourselves. That's where coaching comes in to support you. I also had another client who was in the military. I worked with her for about a year one-on-one, and she came to me similarly for this confidence, wanting to feel confident in relationship with herself, with her body, but also everything touches everything. This also showed up in her workplace. She was a top leader in the military, and she was one of those people who always did everything for everyone because she was good at her job. But what ended up happening was she would burn herself out because she would do all the work because nobody else could. And by working together, we were able to learn how to set boundaries in her work relationships, also in her interpersonal relationships, heal some past trauma with some old abusive relationships. She also healed and set boundaries with a lot of people in her family. And unfortunately, she went through a big loss at that time too. She lost somebody really close to her in her family, which I don't wish that upon anyone. And it was a trying time for her. But I'm also glad that I was able to support her in that season. And she was really able to be present during that time. And ultimately, what ended up happening through that season is she got connected with a man who also had undergone some loss. They ended up being there to support each other. And now they are building a house together. They've moved in together. They've both retired, and they're building their dream life. So when I say everything actually is happening for us, even those pieces that are really hurtful and really painful, there are good that can come out of them. And when you are fully embodied in the process of allowing yourself to feel the feelings, feel the emotions, work through them, sit within your boundaries, set up your values and communicate your values, you're able to do absolutely anything. So those are just two examples. I also have another one from a male that I worked with a while ago. Same thing, was really working on confidence and being able to ask somebody out and being able to feel good enough for the certain type of woman who he wanted to date. And he was able, we worked together for about 3 months, and he was able to, for the first time, ask this girl out really confidently. They went on a cruise together. And now fast forward, it's been a couple of years since I've seen him, but he is now happily married and they have their first child. So I also want to let you know the work that we do, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, whether it's in one of my coaching containers like I have coming up. I have a group coaching container called Conquer. It starts on November 1st, and it is 6 weeks of high accountability, intense coaching. And what I mean by intense, it means we're face to face on a Zoom call. You're in a group community. This container is only for females this go round. And I do it that way to ensure that it's a safe space for everyone and everyone feels supported. And by hearing coaching from other people, by hearing their story, by hearing their breakdowns and breakthroughs, you actually feel more supported. So I invite you, if you like working in a group coaching container, It will be for 10 women or less. I invite you to reach out to me. Let's connect on a call. And I have a bonus when you enroll in this coaching program before October 24th. You actually will get a bonus one-on-one coaching call with me. So that is what I have coming up. And as always, let's say you're watching this later in the future. Periodically, I open up several spots for one-on-one coaching for male or female either. So you can always reach out to me and see if I have availability for that. Okay, so let me dive into confidence. Okay, I think this is so important. And I know there are a lot of people in the world who desire to have more confidence. So the first thing I want to show you is something you may or may not have seen. Typically, when I share this, people have not seen this before. I have all these books here. I pulled out this book called The Shadow Effect, and I thought it was really appropriate. Actually, let me read the first line of it to you because I was called to read this. And here's why. Confidence a lot of times is related to perfection, saying I'll be confident when I lose the weight, when I make the certain amount of money, when I get the promotion. And it typically is coming from something externally to ourselves. When I'm a mother, when I get married, when I start dating the hot person, whatever it is, we build our confidence off of the external things which are in our reality, which are our circumstances. They're actually not real. They're actually not a definition of whether we're worthy or whether we can embody confidence. And what's so interesting about this is a lot of times, I also am a recovering perfectionist. A lot of times we don't want to explore the shadow side, which is the side that we are feeling ashamed of, or the side that we are not confident about, right? Like, I'm not a good dancer, or I'm not good at bowling. Those are some of my things. And we don't want to explore those. We want to do the things that we're good at, the things that we're confident at. But here's how you actually develop confidence. And I'll give you these little nuggets along the way. You start doing things that you don't innately just already feel good at. You don't innately already have confidence for. And this is going to develop that sense of certainty that no matter what, even if you're not already good at it, even if it feels like a challenge for you in the beginning, that you will figure it out, and that the resources will come, and that somebody will come along and teach you and support you. So having that innate trust in yourself, that no matter what happens, it's all going to be okay. You can get to that level. I call it the 3 layers. This is what I teach when I'm certifying my life coaches: certainty, energy, and embodiment. And when you can get to those 3 layers, having certainty that you're fully supported, that you are living in your genius, that you are aligned with your values, and then you move into the energy of that, you show up as if it is already done. You show up as if the person already said yes to marry you, or they already offered you the job, or you already made the $1 million. When you show up in the energy of gratitude and already having it be done and feeling the abundance of already what's in your life, that energy exudes and that energy attracts. And then lastly, the third key is embodiment. And embodiment is living in alignment with your values. And if you say something is important to you and it's on your values, that you're actioning it each day, and that you're embodying it, and that you're flowing through. So you're not just teaching it, or you're not just saying it. It's just part of who you are. It's part of how you navigate in the world. That is how you develop this innate sense of confidence, which underlies from a sense of worthiness, which is also coming from allowing your shadow side, allowing those parts of you that you maybe don't want to see, allowing things to come up for healing, and allowing that to be okay. It's coming up for a reason. You're getting triggered for a reason in order for you to work through it and be healed so that you can be confident during the process and on the other side of it. And there's just this one-liner in this book, The Shadow Effect. It says, the conflict between who we are and who we want to be is at the core of the human struggle. Duality, in fact, lies at the very center of the human experience. Life and death, good and evil, hope and resignation coexist in every person and exert their force in every facet of our lives. If we know courage, it is because we have also experienced fear. If we can recognize honesty, it is because we have encountered deceit. And yet, most of us deny or ignore our dualistic nature. And I'm starting with that. I felt inspired to read that to you because if you are on here seeking to gain more confidence, more clarity, more certainty, we can't have one without the other. So recognize the duality, recognize how sometimes we feel fearful, sometimes we feel unconfident, confused, questioning. And then on the other side, once we work through that, we have confidence and courage and action. And by allowing both sides, by allowing what I call above and below the line, allowing allows you to shift the energy more towards confidence. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'm going to use a visual here. This is in my coaching binder. I reference this fairly often when I'm coaching, and I also have a podcast on this if you can see it. So this is called the vibrational scale of emotions. And looking down at the bottom of it, there are emotions that are actually measurable, that you can measure on a frequency level, an energetic level. What does it resonate at? And at the bottom of the scale are the feelings of unworthiness, of the feelings of guilt, the feelings of shame, of insecurity, of self-doubt. And those are very low vibrational energies. But what I want you to see and envision is actually right above those is jealousy, anger, hatred, rage. And a lot of times when we're taught, especially if you've been raised in religions, these are not good energies. We shouldn't be angry or jealous. All of these emotions, we shouldn't, right? Really notice your language, especially when you're saying should or need to. Shoulding all over yourself, right? I should do this, I shouldn't do that. And realize that even if you're in a state of envy and being like, wow, that person's life looks amazing and I want that and I desire that, that vibration is actually better than you being in a state of unworthiness and a state of feeling like you're not good enough and that you don't deserve it, and a state of insecurity. So you're just settling for your life as it is and you're operating out of fear. So I want you to start to notice and maybe assess what emotions are coming up for you right now. What is your daily emotions where you're spending 80% of your time? Is it doubt? Is it insecurity? Is it fear? Is it numbing? That is what came up to me too when I was sitting down preparing for this. What was coming up for me is that people need healing. Right now, people are needing healing. And what's happening is because we're not wanting to look at our shadow side, we're not wanting to look, even though 2020 has gifted us with this mirror, with this reflection of these are the things that are no longer working, we tend to not want to look at it because it's uncomfortable, and we will go to something to numb us. Whether that is scrolling aimlessly on Facebook, whether that is watching a bunch of Netflix, whether that is going shopping and buying things on Amazon that you're like, I know I really don't need. Whatever that numbing strategy is, or eating lots of food, right? Eating the snacks, it is holding you back from your healing. So the first thing that you can do in building this confidence is to create an awareness of where you are on the vibrational scale of emotions right now. And make sure you register, because I'm going to send this vibrational scale over to you via email so that you get this and you can actually look at it, print it out, put it on your phone. I actually had the vibrational scale on my phone for like a solid year. When I was working at this certain place, I had to remember to be consciously aware of where my vibration was and be intentional about shifting it. So right now, without judgment, notice where you're spending most of your day, most of your time, most of your energy. Are you spending most of your time in avoidance and not even wanting to look at the shadow side, the side that is embarrassing, the side, like right now I'm ignoring my dog because she's making a lot of noise. Like I want to ignore that because it's annoying me, right? And she often will make noise as I'm teaching, and it is it brings awareness to me of how quickly I can get triggered. Because sometimes I just want to be like, shut up, sit down. And if you have kids, it's probably the same for you, right? Kids are our greatest teachers. Animals, in my case, they're my greatest teachers. So by noticing and allowing it, just going, ooh, I was getting angry at her making noise over here. I really wanted her to stop. And it broke my concentration. I can take a deep breath. I can allow that and just say, okay, I'd rather not ignore her over there. I'd rather process the emotion and even process it publicly with you so you can see how it works. So then I can move into acceptance. And acceptance is the transformational emotion. Acceptance is, it is what it is. She's making noise in the corner, and I can decide what to do right now about it. I can decide to continue to teach and move forward. I can decide to go off screen and pull her collar, which I've done before. I've done all of these things. And what's really interesting is you can start to reflect on which one creates a better outcome and a better result for me. And without judgment, you can say, well, I yelled this time and this was the result. This other time I ignored it and it just still made me angry and I got off track. This other time I made sure to put her on a leash before I started, and that was good. So that's actually my solution. I forgot to put her on her leash before, so she's making a bunch of noise and walking around. And next time I will remind myself to put her on the floor beside me with her leash on. But also what's so amazing about this is I can choose to step into acceptance of the moment, recognize and allow the emotion to come through, and then step into courage. So acceptance is the step up to courage, and courage requires an action. And the action is, what are we going to do? What it is. We accept it. We allowed the emotions. We saw ourselves go through the things were boiling up, bubbling up. And now we are at a point of stepping into courage, which requires an action. So in this moment, what action is it that you're choosing to take? And I want you to also, this is such a good analogy. I love using this analogy. Choosing to take an action and taking the action are separate things. Okay? So I want you to think of this. Think of 3 frogs on a log. You got 3 frogs chilling on a log. One of them decides to jump off. How many frogs are left? You may have guessed 2 frogs because one jumped off. But the actual answer to this is 3 frogs are still on the log because one of them decided to jump off, but he actually didn't jump off. He just decided in his head, and then he let his emotions take over, and then he let his fear take over, and then he was like, I don't know if I can do it. He started questioning, and he let fear take over, and he didn't take an action. So the best time to take an action is when you're in the energy, right? We talked about certainty, energy, and embodiment earlier. When you're in the energy of awareness and courage, when you are in the energy of courage is when you take the actions. That means right now, when you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, what is it that you know you must do to get to your next level? Because doing nothing is still a decision, because you're choosing to do nothing. You're choosing to avoid, you're choosing to numb, you're choosing to ignore, which means you're choosing to stay the same, which means your circumstances will stay the same. Now, remember, I said yesterday, you are not your circumstances. However, if you look at your circumstances, they are a reflection of the past energy and action that you have taken or not taken. And if you want a new outcome and you want a new result, you must operate differently. I'm going to put my dog on a leash right now. I'm going to operate differently. Okay. So this is such a good analogy. The dog, I have her on her leash. The dog is like my thoughts, right? I can let my thoughts just wander around, make a whole bunch of noise, rattle around in my head, and I can just get pissed off and be annoyed by them. And those are thoughts that are uncontrolled, that are just going around, that I'm not being aware of, that I'm just letting them kind of run freely. And what that does for me is it makes me feel, and for you too, it makes us feel like we don't have control. It makes us feel like we need to believe everything that we think. It makes us feel like the thoughts are running our day. The thoughts are running our emotions. The thoughts are running our relationships, our job, our career, our business, or lack of business, right? I do work with a lot of people who are wanting to transition out of a job and into their passion, or they're wanting to even start something on the side of whatever it is they're doing for their job. But the thoughts are running rampant in their brain, and they're thinking that their thoughts are real, and they're identifying with those thoughts. And I want you to use this leash as a visual that we can't control the thoughts as they come through, because they are just going to flutter through, right? They're going to come through because of the conditioning and the programming that we've had, because our ego wants to run the show. But we have this leash. We have the ability to pull in productive thoughts, useful thoughts. We have the ability to choose new thoughts. And when we choose a new thought, we come into new alignment with the energy of that thought, and we take aligned action, which gets us that different result. So I am grateful that I have this analogy of when my dog's running around the room, she's distracting me. It's like my thoughts. But when I can sit with them, when I can recognize and then have courage and take action, now I'm able to sit here peacefully in a grounded state, feeling like I have full courage and confidence in moving forward, because I have decided what thoughts and I've decided what actions I'm going to take to reconcile the situation. Now my dog is laying calmly beside me, and this is a tool that I have to help to rein in those thoughts. So that's beautiful, and I love that message. And this is not a promotion for this leash, but I do like this leash. It's one of those slip leads that goes around their neck so it pulls tight, and just that gentle pressure gives her the communication that I am in control. So how can you communicate to yourself, to your brain, I am in control? Even when the world looks like it's out of control, I have complete control and sovereignty over my thoughts, over what I'm going to focus on, over what I'm going to choose to do, and actually follow through and do it. Because it's one thing to choose, it's another thing to actually follow through on the action. Okay, I want to give you a couple more tools. So I gave you the vibrational scale of emotions, and usually I'm not a note taker, but I spent a lot of time on this today because I was doing a lot of meditation on this, because I wanted to serve you right now in this season on specifically what it is that you're going through. And I was asking the question of, what is the collective going through? What are most people going through right now? And it was the decision and the action. It was the healing. It was the self-judgment. And getting stuck in a rut. So this is so freaking simple, but any client that I've used this with, they come back to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I did what you said and it was so amazing. So this is your action that you can do today. Unleash your creativity. Start to get creative in your life, where it's actually something physical, where you paint or you build something or you craft something. Some people aren't crafters, but I lead vision board workshops, and that's an amazing thing that you can do to create your vision, and you can be creative with it. But this is also be creative in your thoughts. And this is a practice that I have for you as a tool. If you're taking notes, ask yourself this. Okay? Ask yourself this, and this comes back to certainty. Ask yourself, is this true? Or are there other points of view? And I like it because it rhymes. But whatever you're thinking, right? Whether it's leaving the job, whether it's starting the new business, whether it is speaking up, speaking your truth to someone or something about a situation, whether it's saying no to something, whether it's saying yes to yourself and investing in yourself. Whatever the first thought that comes through typically is your fear thought. Okay. Now, what's so interesting is your soul has led you to the thing, whether it's making a decision in business, making a decision about relationships, investing in yourself, taking a leap. Your soul has guided you to that, and you'll feel it in your gut. Some people feel it in their gut, some people feel it in their heart. You'll feel it energetically. That's why we talk about that gut feeling. But then typically the first thought that comes up is the reason not to do it, the fear thought, because that is our ego. Our soul calls us to it. Our subconscious calls us to it, says, you should do this. This is great. We're so excited. And then your fear self goes, nope, you can't. And here's why. Because there's no money or there's no time, right? Those are two of the big things. Or so-and-so will think that. But when you align, when you fully align, this is what is next on my path. I know it and I'm acting on it. That is what creates confidence. When you know it, you allow that fear thought to float through. You allow yourself to have the thought, so you're not judging it, but you're just going, okay. And then you ask the question, is that actually true? Or are there other points of view? Can you find evidence of coming up with the money or somebody else who maybe did something similar and it worked out for them? How can you find evidence for your up level in your future? Because what you do all on your own, and I won't help you with, is you argue for your limitations. You're like, yeah, but. And what I do as a coach is I'm in alignment with your higher self. I'm in alignment with your potential. So I see and communicate and energetically feel what you're able to do in this world. And I reflect back to you what you're capable of. And your ego self wants to show you circumstances, why it won't work, all the fear-based things. And working together, we retrain your brain to look at the potential instead of looking at the fear-based decisions and all of the emotions related to fear and the below the line emotions. So one of the tools you can use here is to ask yourself, is this actually true? And I also think of, what if the opposite was true? What if there was all the time, all the money? What if it was easy? What if that were true? Would you make a different decision? And when we start working even higher levels, you'll realize that we create our reality. What we focus on, we will always find. If we focus on limitations, disease, death, hatred, negative, low vibrations, we will find it and we will attract more of it. If we focus on potential and upward mobility and $1 million and other people who are living and serving and giving at a high level, we will start to attract that. This is when your brain might go, that sounds like BS. But I want you to think of a time when you woke up, wrong side of the bed, stubbed your toe, spilled your coffee, yelled at the kids, and it just kept snowballing in the negative direction because the energy was already set to attract more negativity. And then you were more angry, and then you flipped somebody off in traffic and somebody cut you off, and then the line was too long. And then think about those days, those beautiful moments when you're outside taking in the beautiful crisp air, feet are maybe on the ground, maybe you don't have any shoes on, you're at the ocean or you're just walking on grass, you're fully present, the sun feels so good on your skin, you take a deep breath, the air just feels so clean, you feel so present, you feel connected, you feel grateful, you feel just so like it's a miracle to be alive, and you're fully present in that moment, and everything's beautiful. And maybe you look at your kids and you just see them and you're like, you're so precious and I love you so much. Or you look at your dog, your spouse, and you just get really grateful. And in that moment, time stands still and it's like everything is beautiful. And it maybe even the colors are brighter. I've experienced this myself. Maybe you have too. And if you haven't yet experienced it, the desire to experience it is enough. The desire to call it into your reality is enough to have it start coming into your reality. And I feel like this is a good segue to take too, especially if you're listening this long and if you haven't watched the first masterclass yet. knowing some of my backstory is helpful, I believe, because I grew up in a tough childhood. I was around people with toxic energies, with a lot of anger, with a lot of outbursts. I was verbally and physically abused as a kid and told nobody liked me, and was basically told all the things that were wrong with me and why nobody liked me, and go over there, and we don't want to be around you. And so what happened to me when I was a kid is I energetically took that energy on, not only to protect myself. So I protected myself with a barrier of anger because I was being rejected. So I thought, well, I'll just reject others before they reject me. And I also started to see that, well, this person gets their way all the time because they're always angry and they're always demanding and they're always commanding. And it felt like that was a powerful stance to be in, of being loud and aggressive and assertive and demanding what you want. And so I became that energy for many, many years. And so I'm saying this now as this spiritual person who sits outside with my feet on the grass feeling so, so grateful. I'm saying this to say that no matter where you come from, no matter your current circumstance, no matter your background, your history, your family upbringing, you have the ability to make this transformation energetically first, and then actually physically in your reality, things start attracting to you. And when I did this work, when I created a solid foundation of my values and I created certainty of who I was, the light, the dark, the shadow side, all of it, I accepted all of it. And I became courageous enough to put that out into the world, saying, this is who I am and I know it's okay. I was able to attract a partner, my ideal partner. I got married this year and I was upfront and straightforward with my values, and he the same with him. He was so clear in who he was and who he wasn't. And we came together as two whole people with the light and dark, right? With the shadow. It doesn't mean either one of us is perfect, but we were both fully in alignment with who we are, what we stand for, what our values are. And we came together energetically to support each other. And this was after I had been in a codependent relationship for 9 years, where I was giving and overgiving and always trying to be perfect. So I'm telling you again, that was my circumstance for 9 years. But the whole time during that time, I was journaling. This is what I desire. This is what I desire. This is what I deserve. And that built up my energy. That built up my confidence. And guess what? I reached the point of courage. I took action to end that relationship, and I stepped into confidence. Most of you think that confidence comes first. When I feel confident, I'll do the thing. When in reality, when you can get to the energy of neutrality, willingness, acceptance, openness, desire for more, you step into courage. Courage is the transformational energy. Courage requires action. Courage requires action. Once the action is taken, you fully stand behind it. That's where you step into confidence. Let me know how that lands for you, because I'm firing myself up over here. I'm going to tell you another story before I close this out. I did this same thing. 2018 was my transformational year. I had been working with life coaches and business coaches and running my own coaching business for years, but I knew I wanted to make a transition into life coaching. And my transition was coming out of this relationship and wanting to transition my business. And synchronicities all lined up for me because I desired to go to Bali. And so I had been putting it out there for years. I desire to go to Bali. This is where I want to be. I don't know what, with who, how. And all the synchronicities lined up for me to get on the phone with this business coach. And there were 3 of them. Joel Brown was the one that I connected to first, and then Emil Steenfeld, and then the last one is Ben Kelly. And I did a face-to-face interview with them to go to this transformational retreat in Bali. And it was very much an application process to make sure the right people were there in the room doing the work to support each other, which is also why I require applications for my group coaching programs as well. I think it's important for who's going to be in the room together. So I did the call. I knew I wanted to do it. I also was questioning, how much is it going to be? But my gut, my soul had wanted this for 3 years. So there was no way that I was not going to go to Bali. There was no way. It was going to happen. I was certain because of the emotion and the gut feeling. And I was certain and confident this was the thing. Did I know how I was going to get there? No. Did I know how much it was going to cost? No. It ended up costing $4,000. And I needed to create that money within the next 30 days because the retreat was next month. So I committed. I energetically committed to, I know this is for me, and I know where there's a will, there's a way. I know that it will happen for me. I committed energetically. I said, I'll pay you on this date, and I had no clue how, and the how doesn't matter. A lot of you guys think confidence comes from knowing how to do the thing. I know how to drive a car. I know how to run a business. I know how to do the things. Your certainty, your confidence, your conviction, your energetic conviction and commitment to what you desire at a gut level is what creates the how. The how showed up for me. The how came through for me. I landed a few clients. My mom had found some money from bonds when I was a kid. I got a refund back from one of my insurance policies. All of this happened because I listened to my gut. I felt energetically aligned. I said yes. I took courage, took a step, and then I created the confidence. Because at that point, you got to be confident, right? When you commit, you step up. I'm doing the thing. I will figure it out. A mentor of mine said, jump and build your wings on the way down. That is confidence. And I'm not saying be dumb or don't think about things or allow yourself to be misguided. I mean, connect to the inner part of who you really are, what you really desire, and then ask, what would I do if this was already reality? How would I be acting? And this is the final part of this teaching today. Tapping into the identity of that person who has what you desire. How do they show up? What do they act like? What do they wear? Do they wear lipstick? Do they wear cowboy boots? Do they wear a leather jacket? Stepping into the energy of that person who has what you desire. Start to connect with, okay, if I had the physical body that I desired, what would I wear? How would I eat? How would I sleep? How would I talk to myself? How would I treat myself? Well, you'd probably walk in the room confident. You'd probably wear things that made your current body look good and feel good. What would I do if I had that job that I desired and I was a leader in that space? Maybe I'd wear blazers around the house. I certainly would invest in myself, take a leadership course, something like that. How would I act and show up if I was in my ideal relationship? What would that look like? Well, I would treat myself really well. Right now, I would give myself some self-care. I would affirm myself that I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, I'm in energetic alignment all the time, I'm aligned with my values, I believe in what I stand for, I action what I stand for. So start to create this image of your future self, your potential self, the one that is actually always calling you forward, the one that you feel inside of you when you feel jealousy for things. So jealousy is actually not bad. Jealousy is an indicator that the thing that you desire can be yours. It's going to require a recalibration of your certainty, your energy, and your embodiment because it's not yet yours in your physical reality. But as you focus upon gratitude, raising your vibration, taking aligned action towards the goal, things happen for you. Synchronicities line up. And that's when you feel confident. Your unconfidence, your lack of confidence comes from not taking action. You don't need to have confidence first to take the action. When you take the action, it breeds more confidence because you're stepping into the identity of the version of you who has the thing, who has the business, who has the relationship, who has the body, who feels good about themselves every day. By actioning it, stepping into that energy and practicing, I refer to it as practicing your potential, just like riding a bike. If you expected your kid or yourself for the first time hopping on a bike to be really great at it and not fall off, well, it's a poor expectation. You're going to be let down. But if you realize that this work that we're doing, what I'm coaching you on today, is simply the same as riding a bike. You hop on, you envision what it would be like to ride a bike. You hop on and you might fall off. You might need training wheels for a while. You might skin your knee. But you get up and you're confident of your outcome. You're confident of, I can envision myself riding that bike with like a helmet with flames on it, just like hair blowing in the wind. Focusing on the vision is going to build that confidence for you as well. So tapping into your identity, tapping into your vision. This is all of what I teach inside of any of my coaching containers. And I want to invite you today, if this resonated with you, take freaking action on it. Take action on it. Do the things. Do the things, the prompts that I've given you. You're going to get them emailed to you when you register. So you'll have these worksheets to go through. You will have some additional recordings and some energy work that I'm going to provide you for free around money and around love, because that's a lot of times what I work with people around is around self-love, and around worthiness, and around creating money in their life and believing that in abundance and believing in themselves. So I'm going to give you a couple of free resources in regards to that. And I also invite you anytime, even if you're watching this in the future, reach out to me directly if this is resonating with you. If this is hitting you at a gut soul level and you're like, yes, I need support. I desire support to get to my next level. Then I want to work with you, because I work with the people who take the action, who get in a place of courage, who take the action, who declare, if there's a will, then there's a way. And they have a vision for their future that is, I just want it to be different than it is now. And we can co-create that vision even deeper. And we can dive into your identity. We can dive into your values. We can dive even deeper into what it is that you desire. But your first step is taking the action. So you can connect with me directly by going to camikennedy.com/call and book a complimentary discovery call with me. You may be eligible for one of my group programs, or one-on-one may be a better fit for you. But regardless, I know that I have the ability to support you, and I also have the resources. So there may be some other things I can direct you to. Even if it's not a good fit for us to work together, I can point you in that next direction that your soul is desiring to go. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm so grateful. I love serving in this way. I love being able to impart this energy, wisdom, and knowledge to you. And I believe that you're receiving it at a soul level, at an energetic level. You're not just listening to listen. You are listening to implement. You're listening to take action. I know this for certain because that's what I'm here for. I'm what's called a manifesting generator, and the energy that I have in this space in the world is so important because I help to co-create with others. When you're in my energy, you feel inspired, you feel compelled to take action, you feel the energy of wanting to do things. And if you're not sure what this is, it's called human design, and we could talk a lot more about that as well if you want to find out what yours is and how you operate in the world. But it is so beautiful when you know who you are. You embrace who you are, the light and the dark, and you just show up as you are in this world, and things start to attract to you. And I want that for you more than anything because it is pure magic, and I love witnessing it. I love being a part of it. So reach out to me. I can't wait to connect with you. I'm so excited. And I'm really excited about this coaching container called Conquer. It starts on November 1st in 2020. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.